Evaluation task 5, which is basically how do you attract/address your audience. So the first question is, list all the pleasures your target audience can take. Well, basically, first of all, who is our target audience? Our target audience was basically university/A-level students, which is basically the ages between 18 to 90-year-olds, roughly. And we gave a questionnaire out to ask what do people like most about movies, and there were loads of choices. And the most popular pick was everyone likes it when there's an unanswered question. So we try to put this in our thriller as an opening sequence isn't meant to give away a lot. Therefore, in our opening sequence, you feel the tension between Mike and Gabe, and you're trying to understand why. And then later on, you find out that Mike kills Gabe, which makes it even more confusing because you're trying to understand what was happening before and why Mike is killing Gabe, even though everyone thinks he's a hitman. He probably is. He is. Um, Also, the use of special effects helps attract a specific target audience, as younger audience tend to enjoy special effects. I think having the special effects makes it seem more realistic, as having those special effects make it seem more like a realistic atmosphere that it has to the real world. So, what type of film is this? Is this a subgenre? Basically, our film is a crime thriller because we have specific conventions such as a hitman, which could be involved with the police, and the thrilling fact of him killing him without the audience understanding, which builds tension. And other films that we got influenced by was movies such as Run All Night with Liam Neeson, Taken with Liam Neeson, Dexter, and Hitman. Well, basically, I think because all these movies or TV shows have specific ideologies that our group was representing, such as having the hitman or the villain as a male, as we felt that our group couldn't go against any of these conventions. So, settings and why did it attract the audience? So, our set was a mixture between having it isolated and having it be really open and wide and free. So, when we're in the car, you notice that it's really isolated and small because our camera plays around the car as we're filming it, and also there's a scene, I think it's the second shot, where you see Gabe like out from the car. You just see him, and it's even though outside is all free, you see him enclosed in this small car. And even though outside was completely free, he chose to be in that tight, isolated car, even though he seemed so stressed and under pressure. After that, we used a forest for where Gabe or our victim gets killed. I think we did this because it seems more of a universal thing, because when you see a forest, you know it's a forest. You don't have to make a set. And it makes it seem more professional because we don't have to build a set. Like, for example, we could have made Gabe being killed in the bathtub, but we needed to build a set for that, show the blood, all this. While having it in the forest, people just know, okay, that's a forest when they see trees and forest stuff. For narrative. Our story goes in linear, so basically it starts off with Gabe, really suspense, with the music, with the ringing, and then it builds tension because you're wondering what's wrong, what's happening with him, what's wrong with him. But then after that, it introduces Mike, and then he gets killed. So it goes in a linear, so it goes boom, boom, boom. Instead of, because we felt having our opening sequence non-linear would just confuse them. Yeah. Maybe if it's throughout the movie, you could do a non-linear, but I don't think having an opening sequence non-linear, I think it will give too much away to our audience. Our two characters is Mike and Gabe, and basically our hitman would appeal to a specific target audience as he's basically like a badass. He seems really professional, straight face, and especially the use of the dialogue makes him seem more evil, as he comforts Gabe before killing him. He's like, no, it's alright.
It's okay, it's alright. It's okay. Okay.
And also, when Mike, the hitman, is given the phone, he's really short replies and like, yeah,
Yes,
it's
okay.
okay, I understand. So it makes the audience know like, okay, they've worked before. So which social group are you appealing to and how? So I've tried to attract, as I said before, was 18 to 90-year-olds. And one of the ways we did that was through the use of characters, such as Gabe, the victim. He's wearing typical clothing for university students, like a little bit nerdy, as the use of costumes help him seem more innocent and more of a little bit like a nerd. I think this specifically targets a specific social group itself because they're being represented on screen, especially the use of the hitman. Having him makes the whole plot seem more professional and realistic. So what about the use of music? So basically, we use diegetic music such as ambient sound, as we felt the silence builds enough tension throughout the opening sequence that we felt that having music would kind of go against the idea of it being silent and quiet and tense. Because we felt like having a soundtrack would break the effect of it being so isolated and quiet at the same time. What information did you give and why? The information that we gave at the start was our star names and the production company, and we felt that would attract a larger audience, as we felt that nowadays having a specific actor could attract a specific audience into the movie. So what editing technique did you use? Well, our group used a reverse tool on Premiere a lot, as this helped to fill the continuity gap, as there were some scenes where Mike was looking to the right, and then he would turn to the left, but while the other shot he was on the right hand. So instead of us doing a retake, we just flipped his face to fill the continuity. We also used After Effects for the special effects, as it made it more action-packed and thrilling for the younger audience and make it seem more realistic, as we felt that using Premiere didn't allow us to make it seem more realistic enough. So what conventions did we use? One of the conventions we used was our characters, such as Mike. I think because Mike has such a big physical presence on the set itself, he suits the role of the hitman perfectly, and he adheres to the stereotype of hitman being big and scary. I think the use of a gun is really typically used in crime thrillers, as it signifies that it's a crime thriller. That makes sense. And I think the atmosphere that we try to build in our opening thriller kind of illustrates to the audience that it's a crime thriller. It's going to be suspenseful, and we did this as our atmosphere was really isolated, lonely, which are typical conventions of a thriller. Well, how have you used them? Well, basically, we made the scene isolated through the use of sound, as the sound helped to build tension and isolation, as we just heard the phone. It's a little bit like when you hear a cricket, you know that's the only thing going on in that scene, is just the cricket. So instead of that, we copied the idea of having it a phone. That was one. Have you challenged any of these conventions? So we challenged a bit of these conventions when Mike was trying to calm Gabe down, as he seemed a little bit sweet and nice, because he's like, oh no, it's alright. Like, it kind of seems a little bit evil, and it kind of challenged the convention of Hitman being straightforward, get it done with. And I felt that our group couldn't really challenge with many conventions, because I don't think we have the financial ability to go against any stereotypes, as it will be too hard to convey to the audience itself. As those typical conventions is what makes up a thriller, therefore changing it would affect our genre as a whole. So that's my evaluation task 5. Thank you.